What is going on, guys? Welcome to Outside the Brand. This is your AEW Dynamite post show for May 10th, 2023. I'm your host, Phil, and of course, this is Outside the Brand. Thank you so much for joining us right here on your Wednesday nights, wherever you may be. Guys, I actually have a guest or co host type of deal for Dynamites tonight. Oh my god, dude. Weaver, what's going on, brother? How are you feeling? And how are you feeling after that? Dynamite, man. Dynamite tonight was this felt like a real Dynamite tonight. There was always something missing when it comes to Dynamite. There was always like that edge that was just missing. This is what it needed tonight, man.
Oh, 100%. This definitely felt like us right out of the gate. Like I had said when I was on stream earlier, I was like, we're 30 minutes in. We've already gotten an incredible singles match right out of the gate. Miro, a bunch of other shit, like all within the first 30 minutes. And my mind was blown. So I'm excited.
For sure, man. For sure. From the International Championship match to the open house rules challenge type matchup for the trios in the House of Black. Hell, even the No Holds Barred match with Anna Jay and Julia Hart, that even exceeded my expectations. A lot of the stuff tonight was really good when it comes to the pro wrestling side of things, like when it comes to the in-ring action. The big swerve at the end of the night tonight when Don Callis turned on Kenny Omega, basically stabbed him, not in the back, but literally in the face with a screwdriver to turn on the Elite and basically join forces with the Blackpool Combat Club. You and I have been talking ad nauseum about that possibly being a thing for the last few weeks now. I even said it when Kenny Omega and the Bucks were attacked the first time around. I'm like, there's something going on with Don, and it turned out to be correct. We are on the verge of seeing Don Callis with the Blackpool Combat Club. It's just a great thing, man. I love it.
Oh, yeah. We called it.
Yeah.
We pretty much called this to go saying that Don Callis was going to be, the guy that was behind all of this BCC attacking the Elite. Like I remember you and I sitting on here talking about that a while back. Like it's great to see that actually come to fruition, though.
It's great to be right, isn't it? It's great to be right. But yeah, man, this was a great episode of Dynamite tonight. From that happening to basically all the matches tonight, absolutely killed it. As we head to Double or Nothing, we took a look at all four pillars of the main event for AEW Double or Nothing, with the AEW World Championship on the line. At that show, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, MJF. Shoot, who's the other one? I'm not an AEW fan. I'm not an AEW fan. It's Darby, MJF, Sammy. I'm not an AEW fan, bro. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Jungle Boy. I'm sorry,
Boy.
it's Jungle Boy. There we go. All of them got video packages tonight. Basically hyping themselves up in order to get to that main event. What they did to get here, what they did to finally get to that pinnacle of getting to a world championship opportunity. I am so sorry, Jungle Boy. I absolutely love you. You are fantastic at what you do. Dude, it's been a week. I'll just say that right now. But dude, how are you feeling about the Double or Nothing main event, with it being the Fatal 4-Way? I know we talked about it all, like, in the weeks before all of this, the tournament, and then it being a singles match from what we thought, and then it just turning into the Fatal 4-Way like some other people thought it could be. What do you think about it all?
I mean, I'm getting more excited about it now. I'm definitely getting more excited about it now than I was. And it's kind of stuff a little bit from the fact that we have all of excitement all in, and All In isn't happening for like 2 more months. So we still have still have, and then a whole nother pay-per-view before we get to All In.
Right.
So this kind of feels a little less than knowing what's coming, but they've managed to really even tonight managed to really get me hyped up. I mean, having MJF sit there and compare each of the 4 pillars to the Beatles was really nice.
Yeah.
Basically just calling himself Paul McCartney. Yeah, that was kind of on point. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah, I honestly can't wait for it. I understand when people say though that if they were going to do this whole 4 pillars thing when it comes to MJF and him going through the rest of the 4 pillars, I understand when people say, why couldn't we just spread this out over the next few months in order so we can at least get through like an actual few more months of his championship reign before, just throwing him into the goddamn deep end when it comes to this stuff. I understand when people say that, but a fatal 4-way between all 4 pillars is what was like, people have been wanting that for, however long AEW has been a thing. So now that we actually get it and it's for the World Championship of all things at Double or Nothing, where it basically all started for AEW. I mean, that right there, that just screams like, full circle type moment there for AEW. So I'm cool with it, and I think it's going to be a great thing when we get there for Double or Nothing. The ladies killed it tonight in that no hold march. Not really much to my knowledge, at least went into the build of that sort of thing. But regardless, I mean, I thought that was very good for the women. Anna Jay and Julia Hart, they have a very storied friendship, rivalry type of deal in AEW. So I thought it was pretty okay.
Yeah, out of their sleep built off of TV. I know, like because I can't use some backstory, really wasn't that clued in until I saw like the video package and stuff they were putting on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then I think they were also using a lot of page time to really showcase those guys. So, but yeah, they definitely showed up and showed out tonight. It was awesome. So,
yeah, and let's not forget, man. I'd be remiss if I did not mention fucking Miro showed up tonight. Thunder Rosa was in the fucking building tonight. I mean, what in your head is going on right now when it comes to those two being in appearance tonight? I mean, they really didn't do anything. Well, Miro didn't say a word. He just walked into Tony's office and he did not look happy.
Miro
But
didn't even
Thunder
have to.
Rosa
He didn't even have to
said,
say a word.
no, he didn't. And then Thunder Rosa said, well, I guess it's a good day to talk to our good old buddy TK, isn't it, Renee? And she's like, that it is. And then she walked into the office herself. What are you thinking when it comes to those two returning to TV? I think it's absolutely great that they are, but what do you think's going on?
Well, so I'm pretty sure this is. I mean, obviously, with later on we got that announcement from the unadvertised announcement from Tony Khan, which was nice. About a special announcement next week, which obviously we know is Collision. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking, we're getting Miro and Thunder Rosa definitely back on TV here very soon. We got, I mean, I actually thought I missed something because Andrade is tweeting like his vignettes from when he originated in AEW. Like he was retweeting that as a GIF all over the place, and I'm like, oh crap! So they've got Andrade in on this too. Like everybody's really coming back. They're really like tying up a lot of loose ends, and bring like when everybody thought like, man, TK doesn't have control of it. He really kind of wrapped everybody up and said, haha, just kidding. So I'm hyped. I don't care. I don't even care what it is. As long as we're getting these guys back on TV, I do.
I honestly could not agree with you more. Honestly, I've been missing Miro since he's been gone for the last 6 months. The last time we saw Miro was at AEW All Out. The last time we saw him was then, and then we have not seen him since then. And then Thunder Rosa, I mean, we haven't seen her since she relinquished the women's championship, and the women's championship was kind of at limbo when she did, because there was an interim champion for a while, and then the interim got taken away, and then we saw the current world champion defeat Tony Storm for the championship, and it's been all over the place into what we see it now as today when it comes to the Outcasts and the AEW originals going at it. But now Thunder Rosa's back. We don't know what's going to be happening with her, but I'm just glad that she is, and hopefully she is back and ready to go, and hopefully at least healthy too, because a lot of people were saying that her back injury and everything like that was absolutely fake, and she just did not even want to be here, did not want to support the AEW Women's Division. I didn't buy that for a single second. I think she's an absolute sweetheart outside the ring. It's just whatever happened in the grand scheme of things when it comes to the women's division, and it is what it is when it comes to backstage stuff.
Yeah, I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't necessarily think Thunder Rosa is going to come back and just jump right back into the main title scene.
Right.
I think there's kind of nothing on that right now. I think if anything, have Thunder Rosa be, because Jade's at what, 59-0 right now. She hasn't hit 60
somewhere
yet,
around there. Yeah, she hasn't hit 60.
I think
no,
Thunder
but
Rosa
she's in the
should
50s.
I think Thunder Rosa should be. Yeah, I think Thunder Rosa should be that big opponent for her that really makes this like an actual defense work. Or hell, at 59-1 or whatever,
Yeah.
I think having and Jade Cargill go in an actual program on TV between like either I think it's a little too soon to do it for Double or Nothing. Like it would feel a little rushed if we did that.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel like you could set it up for like right after Double or Nothing, and just I think they could do a lot together.
I mean, I would not mind that at all. I mean, we need something for Jade. We need something for that TBS championship. Her and Thunder Rosa, I feel like, would absolutely make that championship look more important than what it already is technically, because I mean, it's being held by an undefeated women's world champion right now. So, I mean, that's going to be something to look forward to if that does eventually happen.
An undefeated world champion who's only been in wrestling for 2 years.
Right. And, we all know the history of Thunder Rosa and how, her story of professional wrestling goes. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be something to look into. And then also, like you said earlier about the whole big announcement that is going to be happening next week, it's all but confirmed that is most likely going to be the AEW Collision announcement. There were reports going all over the place today, but have not really been confirmed yet by other sources that AEW and Warner Bros. Media like basically signed a deal of like 5 years worth $1 billion for a TV rights deal. Now, like I said, that's not been confirmed yet by basically anybody yet, and we are going to get an announcement next week on Dynamite, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
It's most likely Collision.
I think the upfronts are they'll happen sometime between now and next week. So the actual announcement of the happening will happen then, and then Tony's announcement for Dynamite will most definitely be Collision and also the return of CM Punk, because there's no way they don't have CM Punk coming back ahead of time.
I honestly think that I think that first Collision show is going to have him in. I do.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Like it's there. It's right there for the taking. Because I think that's going to be happening in the middle of June, right? And isn't one of the first tapings for Collision happening in Chicago?
I don't know. The only thing I've seen is that it's roughly scheduled to like debut in like somewhere in early to mid June. But yeah, I think they were saying like everything that I've heard is early to mid June, and the first live episode will be in Chicago. So
Yeah. So I mean that right there. I mean, it's right there for the taking. You have him show up to the first dance, which was technically the second AEW Rampage, and that shows history. And then you're gonna have him debut, well, basically re-debut, come back on the first ever episode of AEW Collision, which is basically the start of this hard reset or hard brand split for AEW. I mean, even with CM Punk and how he's been, going at it as of late with everybody in the elite, or AEW in general, they're still showing a lot of stock with Phil Brooks. So whether you like him or whether you hate him, he's going to be a part of this company one way or another.
Yep. Well, and that's the other thing is I think like it's still fluctuating like news wise. That hard roster split. It went from definitely 100% like hard roster split to keep Punk and the Bucks or Punk and the Elite away from each other to now it's like it's not going to necessarily be a hard split, but they are definitely going to feel like different shows. With
and
Rampage,
honestly, that's what I want.
More of what? Yeah.
I mean, like, when
it's
me.
It's set to be cool, so.
Yeah, I mean, me. A lot of people that watch this show and a lot of people in our group chat know me. I was absolutely not in favor of a brand split when it comes to AEW, but as we drew closer and as we continue to actually go through the process of possibly having it be a thing, the roster is huge, and there are a ton of people, like Tony said tonight, that are just craving to be on television. It can honestly do a lot more good than bad.
Yep.
And I think if it actually does happen, I just want to see how it works, because this is a new company. This is they're trying their best in order to get everybody on TV, but you have over like I think the last time I counted was like over 140 plus wrestlers on your roster. I mean, it's gonna be a lot to get these people separated and then really continue to get these shows to feel unique, different, and at the end of the day, create stories for both of them to get to pay-per-views. It's a lot.
Yeah, well,
So
and
I
think
figure it out.
I think part of it is there's also the fact that like the roster's big. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's anywhere near as big as everyone thinks it is, because a lot of the people that even though we see them on Dynamite and on Rampage and even on like Dark and Elevation all the time, there's a lot of people that are on like those, or they're still in developmental. Technical, they're just in different stages of developmental, so they're not actually signed to a full-on AEW ROH contract.
Right. Yeah.
So I think we're going to see a lot more.
There are still the different tiers that Tony Khan goes by, like tier 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I'm very much into it, and we'll see. Go ahead.
Yeah. I know we're going to get into it, but I just saw like where someone had clipped that one spot of Kenny's in the cage match, and I saw the spot happen, but I didn't see it I didn't see his leg at the time. Like it was one of those where I like blinked and missed it, but I just saw it. Holy shit.
Dude, I don't even know, man. Dude, that steel cage match. We'll get into it, but holy shit. Oh, and by the way, before we really get into everything, and I'll do my spieling and plugging and all that kind of stuff. I saw you talking about it in our group chat. I basically tweeted it out myself. Whoever said, and whoever's basically saying that the whole Don Callis turnout on Kenny Omega was predictable as shit, kindly take that shit somewhere else, please, because like I said earlier, Weaver and I have been
That's what
calling
I was
this
saying.
for
I
like
don't
the
know
last few
how you have
weeks.
to be to sit here and talk shit about that.
We called this for like about the last few weeks, and even Weaver and I were still. I mean, I was still in shock by the way that they did it. I mean, I knew it was possibly going to come, but the way that they did it tonight was so good, and it's going to lead into stuff way more down the line and way more into the future than what we can ever possibly get. So this this was great. The execution was great. The way they did it was great. I mean, I honestly thought that the steel cage falling was legitimately unplanned, but the way that, like, even if it was or if it wasn't, they used that whole thing to perfection to get Don Callis to get back in there and actually do the deal. So whatever happened there was great, and then Don Callis' execution was perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm so I don't know, man. But yeah, we'll get into everything that happened tonight on Dynamite. Thank you guys so much for joining us right here on OTB. If you guys like what you hear so far, hit the like button, turn on the bell for all notifications, subscribe to the channel as we are on the road to 1K. Follow me on social media, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at @PhillyMatt_. You can follow Weaver at what?
Team Weaver TV, pretty much everything.
There you go. So go follow him there. I'll make sure to tag his stuff in the description, and then we'll go from there. Follow everything going when it comes to the OTB merch store. That link is down in the description, as long as myself and Olaf's OTB Olaf's merch store. He has a code. I have a code. OTB has a code, and you guys can save some money when you get Loft Mine and OTB's merch. You guys can get the official For the Brand phone case here. It's safe, it's sturdy, it's good to go, and you guys are going to be protecting your phone. And use OTB20 for 20% off when you order over at the OTB merch store. And shout out to our special sponsor for tonight's episode, and that is SeatGeek. Use OTB20 at checkout for $20 off your first purchase using SeatGeek. Basically, everybody that is a part of the main event players and everything like that have their own codes as well. I know WrestleSpot has one. I know TJ has one. Deontay has one. We got a lot of people here that are a part of this thing. So please use their codes whenever they can, and just have a good old time. If you're going to a wrestling event, if you're going to a concert, if you're basically going anywhere that you need a ticket for, use SeatGeek. You're getting the best deal. Green means good on their website. Red means bad. It basically gets everybody from their all the ticketing websites and make sure that you get the best deal for you. We are actually using SeatGeek when I go to the Yankee game this weekend, so it's a great deal, and we're gonna be good. And you can save those $20 because, well, food's gonna be a lot, and you gotta eat. So make sure you eat and make sure you use that money wisely. So use SeatGeek and get the best deal. Thank you, SeatGeek, for being an official sponsor of the channel, and you guys have been great to us, and we will continue to be great to you. All right, man, let's get going. Through AEW Dynamite tonight, we had a double Jeopardy match between Claudio Castagnoli and Rey Fenix, and basically the winner of this match received the other man's championship opportunity. So if Claudio won, which he in fact did, he and a Blackpool Combat Club member or a member of his choosing would get a Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship opportunity. If Fenix won, he would have earned a world championship opportunity. I don't like having champions lose on television, but at least we got some sort of explanation, and this had to have happened on Ring of Honor or some point to get something, because I, to my knowledge, didn't know about any of this really happening. And I gotta get better at watching. I
I'll be
gotta get
honest,
better at watching Ring of Honor if this did happen
that's
there.
my problem right now too. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I'm a little behind on Ring of Honor, but honestly, this isn't so. It being called a double Jeopardy match is new, but the concept isn't that new. I've seen it happen
Yeah.
before. It like a long time ago. But it feels new. It definitely felt like something different, and it worked.
Yeah.
I feel like it worked more so because beating Fenix for the opportunity at the tag titles,
Right.
as opposed to Fenix trying to beat Claudio for the world title. That would have felt a little, I guess, solid, but I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was a nice, fresh take on the idea. And it gives us I'd be mad at any combination of the versus Lucha Bros. So
me neither.
I'm good.
I wasn't complaining about the match. I just really didn't see any of this like happening. I didn't know where it came from in order to get to where we were. This was great. The match was great. I'm not complaining at all when it comes to a Claudio Castagnoli and Rey Fenix match. That they killed it tonight. I just didn't know where this came from. And that's the only thing about it. So by all means, continue to do something like this, because this was actually a really cool concept. Even if it was just named differently, we've seen this before, but at the end of the day, this is cool. And Claudio Castagnoli gets a shot at the World Tag Team titles. We don't know when. They didn't specify that, but I mean, he and a member of his choosing, it's most likely going to be a Blackpool Combat Club member, will get a shot at the tag team titles soon.
Yeah, I'm thinking, because I don't know when their next ROH pay-per-view. Right off the top of my head, so they might actually try to book it as either like as an episode just to get people to tune in to ROH. Just to get a few more eyes on the product with the Warner upfront coming. If they've got this big deal going already with them locked out and possibly finally getting streaming rights and all that stuff, they might be trying to be like, hey, if you like what we're doing here, you're really gonna like what we're about to do next week on ROH. Check this out. And if that pulls numbers, they're gonna want to eat that up. At the same time, it could also very well be I mean, I hate to have it as a 0-hour match for Double or Nothing, but I could also see it because it's an ROH match. I could see it opening Double or Nothing as either like one of the last 0-hour matches or like the very first match to open the main card. One of them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at the ROH like television taping. I'm not mad at it being put on the next Ring of Honor pay-per-view whenever that happens. I mean, there's a lot of ways that they could go about it, and there's a lot of ways that they can actually get this match done and over with and see where things go. Now, me personally, I most likely think it's probably going to be Wheeler that tags with Claudio. I mean, that's really the tag team of the BCC when it comes to my eyes of things. Brian and Moxley being basically the singles competitors, even though we've seen them team before. I think Wheeler just makes the most sense. But wait, Who's the pure champion right now?
Well, and also,
Isn't it Wheeler?
oh
Isn't
crap,
it Wheeler?
don't know. I don't think it is. I thought he lost the title. I thought he dropped it.
Where?
Hold on, I'll find out.
That's the thing. That's the thing about this Ring of Honor stuff. If I continue to actually watch this every single week, I'd be able to actually figure this out. Because I know the TV's champion is Joe. I know the TV champion's Joe.
Oh no, it's Shibata. Wheeler he lost it to Shibata.
Oh, that's right, Shibata. That's right. He did beat him at Supercard. That's right.
I knew he lost.
Right. Okay.
I just couldn't remember.
That's right, Shibata.
But no, I honestly though, I think having Wheeler and Claudio be the ones to challenge for the tag titles, perfect, because they're the two that aren't, even though they are very much involved in the BCC versus thing that is still very much building right now, they're the two that are the farthest detached from it. So it's very easy for them to be in that match on a double or nothing early in the night and still have, BCC versus the Elite later. Especially because I could easily see the Bucks get involved in that title because they have plenty of history with Lucha Brothers, and it's very much the enemy of me is my friend, and they come in, help Lucha Bros retain for BC. So
I can totally see that too, actually. Yeah, you make a good point there. And if they do it on Ring of Honor television or the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, I mean, the Bucks are no stranger to Ring of Honor by any sort of the imagination. So I mean, that right there, you can just have those people get tied in and get things going. And you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, those two are kind of the furthest away. I mean, Bryan Danielson's calling them goddamn amateurs, so he's legitimately in the thick of things. And then Moxley, I mean, he just basically almost killed himself on national television in a steel cage. So, I mean, he's legitimately in the thick of things. So, it's right there for the taking. And I think you have Wheeler. Go for it.
I think they've pretty much set us up. I think they've definitely set us up now for, like I was saying, for the Bucks to kind of assist Lucha Bros in kind of attacking Claudio and Wheeler in their title match. I feel like it's going to happen relatively soon, so they can do that. And then either I would say set it up for All In, since that's the biggest show we have coming up.
Yep.
And that's where you want to do an Anarchy in the Arena or a Stadium Stampede again in a live audience. It's at your now biggest selling show. So I 100% could see BCC now having Don Callis, and because of Don Callis turning on Kenny, they also have Takeshita after that spot he did, and like the folks he did about him bleeding out and all that stuff, because that was their whole thing with BCC is alongside, you can only join BCC if you bleed first. So I could see Takeshita and BCC going against the Bucks, Kenny, and or like the Bucks and the Lucha Bros and Kenny. Some amalgamation of that I could see happening.
Yeah.
Or hell, if like they have this thing where Kenny gets attacked enough times to where he's actually not in the match right out of the gate, you have a thing where the Bucks you have to have Matt Jackson actually go to Hangman and be like, look, we've got to fix this. We need you. And so you end up with the Bucks, Hangman, and the Lucha Bros, and then have Kenny show up like halfway through the match because they didn't think he was even like cleared to compete.
Or they could call Kenny's best friend and Kota Ibushi.
True, because he has been saying out like blatantly outright that he wants to come to AEW specifically to work with Kenny.
So I mean, there's a lot of possibilities there. I personally don't mind it actually being a Stadium Stampede match or the Anarchy in the Arena match or whatever. Other than Blood and Guts, because yes, while we have Blood and Guts, and yes, while we could possibly be seeing that on the horizon, I don't know, man. For some reason, I think AEW is almost kind of dead set on doing something with the women when it comes to Blood and Guts. This being a Stadium Stampede match, I'm not too mad at that, or Anarchy in the Arena, whatever way they go about it. But at that point in time, you're basically setting that up for All In or All Out, and you're making that like a priority to get on a major pay-per-view, because this right now, this is easily one of the best things they got going on TV right now. So you make that a priority for a pay-per-view.
Right.
No question about it.
Honestly, it might even be, I don't know if by All In we could even consider this to be too soon. But if we know that Punk is coming back by Collision, like once the first episode of Collision happens and we see Punk back, like once I know I've brought it up a couple of times in the past, and I've seen people like make edits for it since like the original forming of BCC. I wouldn't be mad if the Elite were to, like I said, that it ends up being, you know, the Bucks, Kenny, Hangman, and like one extra person. So they have it. They need it to be 5-on-5, right, or whatever. And so BCC technically ends up one short. And that's how we kind of get our way back to, we kind of cushion the blow of Punk versus the Elite by putting him with BCC.
And the history between Punk and Bryan are there. So I mean, you got that too. You can do a lot when it comes to that. So there's a ton. There's a ton of things, and I'm just, see, it's the fun part about all of this is that we can fantasy book all we want, but do we know what's really going on inside Tony's head? No. And honestly, that's what I love about this. I love that I don't know shit. It's when I know shit, it's like,
well, now it's not even so much just in Tony's head. We gotta know what's in Will's head too.
Will. Oh, and by the way, you know what? Screw that shit. I'm gonna take the time now. Will, you are you are the fucking man, dude. I have been watching your shit. You ain't gonna see any of this. I know you ain't. But like, I have been watching your stuff for so long. You were legitimately a part of my Saturday mornings every single time. Like when you did your shows and everything like that, dude. You are the man, and I could not be more happy that you're a part of the All Elite team, bro. Continue to kill it, man. When I saw that announcement, so happy. I was so genuinely happy. There's nothing else. There's nobody else that deserves that more than Will. So, congrats, dude. I had to just say that because that's great, and the fact that you're a part of basically the creative side of things too, it works. It works because you are one creative motherfucker, and I'm sorry that I had to say that out loud, but man, you are great.
And
so continue to kill it, bro.
You know he's doing his job right when all the, you know he's doing his job right when all the Twitter drones come out trying to bash him or like discredit anything that he's doing, and he's only been there for 2 weeks. So
yeah, dude, fuck those guys. Okay, you're always welcome. Always good shit on you, man. That was great. But Claudio won this thing. just like we all thought he possibly could have. Claudio gave Fenix a water slide for a near fall. He elbowed Fenix multiple times, doing the hammer and elbows, and then he did an arm captured power bomb for the win, and that was it. Good stuff there. Claudio and another member of BCC will get a tag team title opportunity when the time sees fit, and then we'll see where things go from there. And yeah, so that was great. Backstage, we saw Miro all of a sudden return, and Renee is like, "Hey, Miro, what's up, man? What brought you back to AEW?" He's looking pissed, looking meaner now more than ever, and he just walked into TK's office, man. He didn't have to say a fucking word, and you know what was on his mind.
What's crazy is I somehow managed to realize who it camera fully panned up. Like, the camera got to like his knees, and all I could see was his calves, and I was like, "That's Miro, 100%." And then panned up, and I'm like, "Look at Miro, let's go!"
Yeah. Dude, he's been sorely missed from AEW.
Don't ask
man.
me how I
he is
knew
legitimate
from his calves.
Yeah. We'll talk about that later, bro. We'll talk about that later. But man, I mean, he's just been sorely missed. He is legitimately, one of like when I think of the TNT Championship, I obviously think of Brody Lee, but Miro is obviously one of, if not, he's definitely one of, because I mean, Brody Lee's always just going to be there in the upper echelon of TNT champions, but Miro, he brought that TNT championship to absolute prominence, so I'm just glad that he's back. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to go after the TNT championship right away because he legitimately just returned, but
right.
You think of the TNT title, you really think of Miro because he was one of the greatest champions that title's had.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know if you have him go for the right away and try to get that title back, or because I mean, God, would I love to see Miro versus Wardlow? Yes, I would. However,
of course,
I also kind of want to just see. I kind of want to see Miro just go out and absolutely destroy Orange Cassidy and take the international title off of him.
Perfect.
Not because I'm anti-Orange Cassidy at all, but like I know that match would be insane.
Perfect choice. And honestly, at the end of the day, we are going to be talking about that international championship. I loved everything that OC has done with the international title. He has made that championship a lot more important than a lot of people thought that championship was going to be when it came here in the first place when it was introduced as the All Atlantic Championship. But now I think it's time. I thought it was time when Buddy Matthews had that championship opportunity. I thought they could have called an audible there, but Miro doing the thing to get that championship off of OC, perfect spot for him, man. Perfect spot. And he can make that championship just as important as that TNT title reign was.
I think you could also, I think there's also an argument to be made to have Miro be the guy for them to finally just say, you know what? Let's have him get the international title first and then face Wardlow for the TNT title, and that be the way you merge them together, or have him go after Wardlow's TNT title first, then go get the international title. But either way, the goal being basically dissolve the TNT title in international title and just let that be your mid-card title. Because I think at this point, like you've said before, I think the TNT title it's kind of outrun its course. It's very much that title is very belt in a sense. That was Cody's his baby. That's like the last little remnants, and I think if he's even if he's coming back, I think that's just one of the been 3-4 years now. let's just let it dissolve, be done with it. It was good while it lasted. We're on to bigger and better things.
I could not agree more, man. I could not agree more. If they continue to actually book this international championship right, I've said it over the course of the last few months when this championship was kind of introduced as the All Atlantic Championship and then it transitioned to international. This could be like an AEW's version of the IC title if they continue to actually book it in the right places that they need to, and they actually make it work with like the workhorses of AEW. Like you can have like Orange Cassidy has been a workhorse for that championship and has held that championship to the highest of standards that it possibly could be. Miro, if you get him into that spot, he is obviously a great standard bearer for that championship if you decide to do so there. There's a lot of things that could go right with this title if they continue to book it on the right path. So it's right there, man. You got it right there for the taking. Get it going.
Okay.
So I loved every single bit of seeing Miro back on AEW TV. And then in a pre-taped segment, MJF said that the other three pillars can't compare to the accolades that he has accomplished, and his reign of terror has just begun. I absolutely love MJF, man. I just don't know what else to say. He's just great. Then we had an in-ring segment for FTR as they were advertised to accept the challenge of Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett for the AEW World Tag Team title shot at Double or Nothing. But they decided to do something else, as they said, listen, we owe an apology to Mark Briscoe, so come on out here and we'll settle this. Mark Briscoe's music did not hit. It was Jay Lethal, it was Sanjay Dutt, it was Jeff Jarrett, and it was Satnam Singh. They all came out. Dutt asked, and he did not ask MJF anything. That's not the right. Why? Okay, he asked FTR. I don't know why it says he asked MJF something. He asked FTR if they are going to accept their challenge for Double or Nothing. Because if Dunn asked MJF for a shot at the title at Double or Nothing, I would probably turn off the TV. I would turn off the TV. But no, this is FTR. Just want to make that clear.
To be fair, that would actually be really good. Just saying. Like, I know Sanjay Dutt hasn't done a lot of wrestling in AEW, but Sanjay Dutt is amazing.
He's actually really good.
He's an X Division legend.
Yeah. I mean, I loved Sanjay Dutt when he was like legitimately like in the ring. But yeah, I mean, that just threw me the fuck off when I saw that. I didn't read that, thank God. I saw it, I immediately caught myself. Dax said that that they would accept their challenge for Double or Nothing. But you have to admit that you have been using Mark Briscoe to get to them. Mark Briscoe then came out. He's like, hold on. Listen, he's basically in this goddamn triangle here between the two, and he's like, listen, I know you guys can't get enough of me, okay? But I just talked to TK and said that you guys will be going into that tag team title match together, but I'm the special guest referee. So, Jay, take these, pass them all around. We're basically going to do a toast right here, okay? I don't understand why we're doing this, to be completely fair with you guys. I'm not really too invested in this, but I mean, it's okay. It's Mark Briscoe. He's going to be a fucking... The fact that he's going to be a referee for this match, that's just intriguing enough, I guess. And then the tag team match, I don't think will be completely ass. So it is what it is, bro.
Well, and one thing you kind of have to remember and this is something that I've brought up before, as long as Jeff Jarrett isn't like booking him some main event picture, the man is an excellent booker, creative wise. So like, I trust, like, if he's kind of letting Jeff handle this whole feud, it's gonna go perfect, exactly how it needs to go. Because Jeff Jarrett is somewhat of a booking genius, as long as he's not booking himself in his own main title picture.
And I hope TK at least has some sort of ear saying, "Hey, listen, Jeff, you can book yourself in things, but we gotta pump the brakes if you're gonna go too far, okay? Just
oh yeah,
just like okay,
of
like I
course.
don't mind you being a part
That's
of
my
this,
thing.
but
Is like
let's go.
everybody, like, there's right. Well, that's the thing, is like there's the camp that is like very adamantly opposed to Jeff Jarrett even being on TV, because they're
I
just
was
like,
a part of that
who's
at
this
one point
old
when
dude
he was
who
going.
used to do TNA, da 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 da. Right.
Yeah, I mean,
But then there's
I'll
also
admit
like,
I was a part of that at one
me,
point,
it
but
like
I do see the appeal of
yeah.
him. I should say, I
I mean,
guess.
I've had that moments. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've always had those moments throughout the years of, ugh, I really don't want Jeff Jarrett on my screen right now. But if you're giving me Jeff Jarrett guitar in hand, like he's actually bringing the guitar to the ring and using it, like, give me Slapnuts Jeff Jarrett and King of the Ring, or King of the Mountain Jeff Jarrett any day of the week, and because he's not, like, honestly, with tag titles, and also because he works a very old traditional, like, Southern style, which is very much what, FTR is into, that old school tag
Yeah,
team, like 70s, 80s, early 90s style. And then on top
right.
of that, putting Jay Lethal with Jeff Jarrett, got that new flavor a little bit, while also maintaining just a little bit of that old school sprinkled in. So like, it's not going to be a bad match. That's the thing. Like, it's not going to be a match by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, and like I said, when it comes to Mark Briscoe being a part of this as well, I mean that's just another intriguing part of it all as it is, because Mark Briscoe is great at whatever he does. So I mean, at least he's getting involved in
Oh yeah.
something in AEW and not just sitting in the background just hoping for something. Because I mean, it sucks that everything that happened did happen, but at least they're using him to the best of their ability and
Yeah.
to what they can. Um, i- if it wasn't for what happened, I'd be seeing the Briscoe Bros in so much more things. But what happened happened, and we got to get Mark into doing something. So I mean, I didn't mean to
And
go all
honestly,
sad and
the good thing
everything,
is,
but it was so bad, so bad.
well, the yeah, well, the good thing is we've had, historically already, we've had the Briscoes in singles competition in the past.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
having Mark in a singles run isn't unheard of. It's happened before, so we kind of know what to expect from him in a singles run.
yeah,
So we're, it's not a, oh man, what's he gonna do without his brother? It's like they've done this before. In fact, they've had some of their best matches singles wise against each other.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
If you go back into the Hitman, those two killed it with each other. So yeah, man. I'm just glad that Mark is actually doing something, and it's great just seeing him on TV. And at the end of the day, the AEW and Tony Khan specifically have been nothing but kind, and kind to the situation at hand, and kind to Mark as well. So I mean, it's a great thing to see, seeing Mark on TV, and we'll see where things go when it comes to him being a special guest referee in the AEW World Tag Team Championship match at Double or Nothing. So it's gonna be interesting. And what's going on, HK? How are you doing, bro? So yeah, we have all that take place. Briscoe tried to separate everybody because Lethal spit some sort of alcoholic beverage. I mean, I guess it's whatever it was. They were obviously doing something with alcohol. He
It's
spit it in
tequila.
his face. It was tequila. It definitely was like a tequila bottle. I just
tequila.
don't
Dax,
know my drinks.
yeah,
I don't drink.
Dax
So
is tequila.
I mean, it looks like a tequila bottle, but I don't drink, so it is what it is. He spit that in Dak's face, and Dax basically got attacked and everything. But because of the tequila in his eyeballs, he did not know what he was doing, and he spike pile drove Mark Briscoe right on top of his head. First of all, Mark, that was a great sell. Second off, they're trying to do a wedge between Mark and FTR. They said so on commentary, and that's going to lead to the match.
Yep.
So,
which is also gonna make it kind of interesting, because obviously Mark would have known that Dax wouldn't have just decked him for no reason. But
right.
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get a few vignettes of Jeff Jarrett sitting with Briscoe, like, damn, man, you thought these guys were your friends, and here he is taking swings at you like that, man. You can't trust a guy that's just gonna blindly swing at his friends. So I 100% believe that's gonna tie into the finish.
Bro. Yeah, put the mind games in the head, and
also historically, Mark Briscoe's a little slow.
Oh yeah. I mean,
like
they've
always kind of played him as the dumber younger brother. So
yeah, if you look back into the history, Jay was always the how do I put this?
Well, they were both very much country bumpkin kind of thing, but yeah, Jay, he was the one with the parts.
Yeah.
In a sense,
so,
and
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting, and we'll see where things go. I mean, starting off FTR's AEW World Title reign with Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal was not something that I had in mind, but you gotta start somewhere. You gotta start somewhere, and we gotta get things going when it comes to this tag team division. So, and it's what it is, and we'll get things all squared away. So we'll see. In the back, we saw Chris Jericho having a backstage interview with Renee, and he said that he wasn't prepared for last week's Adam Cole ambush because it was unprovoked when he attacked him. He claimed Cole provided an unsafe working environment for him, and then he called him a coward. Unsafe working environment. I just feel like that's wrestling as a whole. WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling.
Oh yeah, Jericho that Cole created an unsafe working. Yeah, like the irony and the hypocriticalness of that was just, it was so nice.
It was so good. He got
like we chained you to the ring ropes and made you watch us beat your girlfriend, but you created the unsafe work environment.
You did it. You were the one that watched us attack Britt Baker in the way that we did. We didn't do it. You were the one that watched us do it. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
It's like the Roman Reigns thing. I didn't lose because I didn't get pinned. No, that's not how it
it's like
works.
I didn't lose, but it's you didn't win.
I didn't lose because I didn't get pinned. No, that's not how a tag team match works. Okay. I'm gonna get mad about that again. I gotta stop. So we got a court order. He got a court order saying that if he's in the building, he's if Jericho's in the building, Cole is not allowed. If he is in the arena or in another venue, Cole is just not allowed inside the building. Obviously, Renee was just perplexed as she's like, what the, why, what does that have to? And then Roderick Strong comes in. It still fucking blows my mind that Roderick Strong could just be showing up in frame. I mean, yes, he probably just let his contract run out, and that is how he got to AEW, but it just still blows my mind that he's here, because of the way it happened, and nobody knowing a single thing. So that just still happens. So he shows up and told Jericho that Cole is not a coward. Strong then said Cole that may be banned from the building, but Roderick Strong is not. And then he challenged him to a fight. I don't know if the fight was anything about the whole Brock Lesnar thing, but if it was, he then said, falls count anywhere. So, I don't know. I mean, he said fight, and I automatically thought of Brock Lesnar.
You just know. Well, you just know, like, we know that having it set as a falls count anywhere, you know good and damn well that next week they're gonna brawl all the way out into the parking lot, and like, because I was saying this on stream because Deontay joined me on stream for a little bit during this part, and I was like, I can already see it. They're gonna brawl outside, and Adam Cole is gonna jump out of a fucking bush and attack Jericho from just out of frame. And it's gonna be the goofiest spot
in the building, so it works.
Ever seen, but you know it's gonna happen.
He's not in the building, so it works.
Exactly.
Exactly. It works. So all that basically said and done, send falls count anywhere. Jericho agreed to the match for next week's Dynamite and told Strong that he has an army behind him. So you better watch out when it comes to that. Strong then said, well, hold on a second. I also got myself a legal counsel. And this says right here that JAS are also banned from the building. Then Jericho's looking through the papers and he's like, wait, this can't be real, is it? Renee then says, looks like it all checks out. How do you know that? You didn't even read the damn thing.
The idea that Roderick Strong has only been in AEW or now a week, it's been 2 weeks because he had a match. He's been in AEW for 2 whole weeks and already is smart enough to lawyer up and make sure that he crosses all of his T's when he calls out someone in a special stipulation match. Is just so nice. So, I'm also just waiting for the I need it to happen. I saw someone tweet about it. It's like a small little 5-second segment. I need the crossway, like the little paths to cross between Stokely Hathaway and Roderick Strong, and for them to just kind of look at each other for a second and have Stokely be like, do you? And then just speak just the one time. That's all I need.
Not that I'm just like, a complete fucking idiot, but they have history together. Not to just show that I'm a complete idiot, I should say.
What was that?
Weaver? Okay. Not to show that I'm just a complete fucking idiot or anything, but they have history together, Stokely and Roderick.
Well, I mean, it's the Diamond Mine. Stokely was in Diamond Mine to begin with.
That's right. He was the
very
whole
early
thing
on
about Diamond Mine. Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's right.
he was their piece.
That's right. You know, the whole thing about Diamond Mine not even really being a thing anymore on NXT is kind of just, you know, it is what it is. It's basically just the Creed brothers and Ivy now, but they basically do their own separate thing at times, and it kind of just dissolved into thin air. So, yeah, damn, yeah, that does actually. that whatever happened to Diamond Mine,
But it was
man?
the fact that he was Malcolm Bivens.
It was Malcolm Bivens. That's right.
Well, and that was the thing is he was, yeah, he had a different name, and which is why I just need that one like, hey, don't I know you? Type of deal. Like it doesn't even need to be a thing, even if it's just Roderick like versus Ethan Page, and Stokely's they have this weird moment where like your name's what?
Here's the thing. To be honest, I don't even need to hear any of them speak. Just stand in front of each other. Well, obviously the crowd knows. If the crowd knows, just stand in front of each other. Then have Ethan Page or somebody, most likely Ethan Page would probably be making the most sense. Just walk in from behind Stokely, and then have them go at it in a match. Just do something, because I mean you can't just ignore that. So I mean, and then hell, like if TK wants to do a little bit more when it comes to that kind of feud, then go for it. Because I don't think anybody would complain. Because Roderick Strong and Ethan Page are fantastic, so it works.
Oh, dude, I would not complain about an Ethan Page Roderick Strong feud at all. That's fucking insane.
I mean, it works, man. Then we saw backstage where Thunder Rosa just showed up out of nowhere, and she said, like, well, it looks like this seems to be a good night to talk to TK. And then she went into his office. They did a pre-tape segment for Sammy Guevara and how he is going to become how he's ready to become the AEW World Champion. So that's where when it comes to Sammy G. Then we saw TK making an announcement about having a big announcement on Dynamite next week. So it's an announcement within an announcement. It's going to have a huge announcement next week on Dynamite. So we got that. Basically it's just saying stay tuned to TNT next week, because there's going to be a huge announcement, which is most likely the Collision deal for their new show, which is cool. So that's great. Then we had the International Championship match between OC and Daniel Garcia. This says with Matt Menard and Angelo Parker, but I didn't even see the 2.0 guys out there. If they were, they must have been kicked out or something, because I didn't even see them out there.
They came out with him. I don't think they stayed.
Oh, okay. So they probably just walked out with
having issues with streams, so that
and then they walked them back.
One of yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Because I'm like, wait, I did not see them out there at all. Because if they did, they would be interfering all over the place when it comes to these guys.
Right.
But OC retained again.
100%.
The hand is becoming more of an issue every single week when it comes to OC. He continued to win again. He did the Last Supper roll-up type of deal for the win. I've been seeing a lot of criticism as of late when it comes to this new roll-up that OC has been using as of late, saying that like you see all these crazy ass moves in OC's matches with like the pile driver that that Daniel did to OC, and people thought that could have been it, or just these crazy moves that happen in these OC matches, and it ends in that Last Supper roll up. How do you feel about that? OC just continues to win,
Well,
but he's finding a ways to win in other ways than just a normal pinfall, like clean
yeah,
victory,
exactly. I think
so to speak.
him showcasing like they're very much playing into the fact that he can't do his orange punch right now in his matches,
Right.
so he's having to do something else. And I mean, having him win with a roll up right now, honestly, I know it's like what culture and all that, it having solid the dev entertainment.
Right.
But I mean, even look at Woods. He's winning matches with move Woods, and it's a schoolboy pin. That's all
Yeah.
it is. It's perfectly fine to have him win these matches that way. It's very much going back to the Miro thing. If we're setting up this whole idea that Orange can't use his punch to win his matches, I 100% can see Miro just coming in and just like damn near ripping Orange Cassidy's hand off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, or just having Orange end up actually breaking his hand because he realizes, like, if he gets put in a match with Miro, he's going to have to use the Orange Punch at the risk of maybe even permanently destroying his hand. So
the hand is gonna come to
it's actually a very interesting story.
The whole hand situation is what's going to be costing him the championship to begin with, or to end it all, basically.
Oh yeah,
100%. And that's basically what they're trying to tell here.
Yep.
So I
especially with him having to face Kyle Fletcher next, I'm assuming. Like, he's going to end up doing some shit to Orange's hand.
Yeah, I mean that right there is going to be interesting in its own right. But yeah, man, I just wanted to bring that kind of a perspective up there. I'm totally fine with the way that they've actually been presenting the way the whole OC hand situation has been. I just wanted to bring that point out there because I actually have seen a lot of people say, like, okay, these matches are great, and then you have him win with this Last Supper roll-up type deal. I mean, it kind of just not the values, but takes away from the match. But I'm like, there's a story behind it. There's an actual way,
and also,
because
there's also
he's got to find other ways to win.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back and watch any of his old matches pre AEW, he didn't have the Orange Punch is a move that he started developing since AEW.
Yeah,
he on the indies a lot more wrestling with his hands in his pockets, so he's been wrestling without his hands for a very long time. So he'll be fine.
So yeah, man. This was really cool to see. Garcia had Cassidy in an armbar followed by a crossface, and this crossface, he was continuing to stomp on the injured hand of OC. I honestly thought at one point the other hand of OC was like tapping the mat, and the commentators even referenced that too, saying, wait a minute, did he tap? He's like, no, he did not. And I was like, wait, what the? I saw something like that too, but they didn't call that a tap out. And then the roll up happened for DG Garcia, and and that's how he retained the title. But I swore when I saw his hand hit the mat, I thought that was a tap out, bro. I really did. The way they at least shot that or positioned
Well,
it.
I think that's probably going to come up more and more as we get closer to the potential of it being Orange Cassidy versus Miro or whatever. I definitely think they may start into that, because I wouldn't be surprised if you also get some sort of like, not necessarily. I mean, the Orange Cassidy character is very much lackadaisical and not like, he's obviously a fan favorite because of the gimmick, but the gimmick itself leans to very much an anti-hero, like, I don't really care one way or another type of deal.
Yeah.
So I could easily see that starting to play in more, like, of him just like starting to kind of cheat to win. I mean, hell, best friends were cheating with him before, in the past.
Yeah.
They very much were, they're like, I don't remember what tag match it was, but there was a tag match they had where, like, when they found out it was no DQ, they were like, there's no DQ, there's no disqualification, but we're gonna cheat. You're damn right we're gonna cheat.
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen here, and I'm honestly like, ever since you said Miro could be the one to do the deed and like actually get that title off of OC, that's all I want now. That's all I want. Like, that is perfect for everything. So I mean, if they are actually going to be setting that up, and that's perfect, and we'll see where things go. And honestly, like I said earlier, OC has done so much for this championship. If he lost to Miro, hold your freaking head up high, because man, you did a lot more for this championship than a lot of people ever thought you could. And I don't know how people can really not, I mean, like, the whole thing about OC, I understand you may not like the whole style of what he is, but if you just say like, "Oh yeah, he's just not a good wrestler," you're just obviously not watching. You're not watching. I don't know how people can say he's a bad wrestler, but I mean, yes, not his style is for everybody, but he is damn good in that ring, man. So I mean, listen, we all have our
and the
different
best part is
preferences.
he very much has
That's
like
fine.
a right. Well, he also very much has that Ziggler attitude about him, in a sense, where like when you get
Yes.
him to his limit and like start knocking, you have somebody sitting there knocking him down over and over again, he's getting back up in the most irritating, like, I guarantee you, if we get to a Miro Orange Cassidy match, he is going to irritate the absolute fuck out of me throughout the match. One, by doing the soft kicks.
He's like that bug that
And
you
then,
think
like,
you
all of
kill,
that stuff.
but you just he's like that bug that you thought you killed like over and over and over again, but he's just not dead. There's still that thread of life within him, and he's just like, dude, stay the fuck down, please.
I could absolutely see Orange Cassidy. Like, I could see Miro putting Orange Cassidy in, I don't remember what he calls it. It was the Accolade. I could see him just wrenching that submission.
He called it game over because he was with Kip.
Screaming at Orange Cassidy like, "Why won't you die?"
He called it game over when he was with Kip, and then they did that whole like arcade type matchup thing during the pandemic with like Matt Hardy or something like that. But yeah, they called it game over. And he always screamed like when he did the whole Machka thing or whatever, he was like game over, and then he did the stomp and then the wrenching back thing. So he called it game over, and it was great. And then we all thought Lana was going to come into play in AEW, but that never happened. So I don't know if CJ was ever just dropped or whatever.
My
but
favorite thing right now, fact that Lana was in Puerto Rico for Backlash, right?
Yes. I
Because
saw all
she's
that.
like really friends with Damian Priest. So she
Yes.
right. My favorite part was just the fact that somebody tweeted about it like to Miro, and and he was like, "Nah, man, don't you know she's still with Bobby Lashley?"
You got to keep the kayfabe, I guess. I mean, they never really.
Bro,
You're
it's
right. They actually never really came to a freaking conclusion from that.
I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, they did and they didn't. I think it kind of was just. I think someone was like, I think Bosley the one like, Lana, I'm done with you. I want a divorce, and then it was just handled off screen, and we just never talked about it again.
I want a divorce.
But I mean, honestly though,
it
I
just
wouldn't
never
be
happened.
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised though if we don't see her show up now in AEW. I mean, because Miro has mentioned her plenty of times before.
Yes.
She seems to not be doing like she's doing a lot of stuff. She's doing a lot of movies and stuff. But I think right now, especially with him finally coming back, I think both their schedule. I think that may have been one of the things he's been waiting for is for her schedule to kind of clear up too, so that they could come back together. Because it's one thing for him to be the redeemer and him to do all the like speak for himself. It's going to be a whole nother ball game if like his first actual like return to like not just a backstage segment, he like right before he comes out, you have CJ Perry walk out with a microphone. The place is going to go nuts.
And if we do the whole thing with OC, him being paired up with his wife and CJ Perry as the international champion, dude, that is legitimately unfucking stoppable. Unstoppable. And well, Miro's unstoppable regardless. Yep. But that combination with the international title, dude. Whoever beats Miro for the international championship, if that does go the way that we think it is, made man. Made man. Just like the TNT title was.
Yep.
So good, man.
Well, and I think you could easily Miro be like, I mean, obviously, Orange Cassidy's kind of already started this kind of a record-setting reign with that belt. I mean, anything with any AEW belt right now, he set reigns because everything's pretty much, only a couple years old anyway. But I definitely could see Miro picking up whatever title belt he picks up first, whether it's the TNT or the international or the combining of both. I could easily see them setting immediately right out of the gate, setting him up to have a similar kind of title run to what Jade is doing with the team, where you can go on just an absolute undefeated streak. Especially if he's got if he's got his wife with him, like they're throwing up the graphic every week, every time somebody loses to him.
Yeah, for sure. And it honestly does kind of work out too, because the last time we saw him was All Out 2022. So if you want to do an undefeated streak, you can technically, because it's 2023 and they reset the records basically for your 2023 record. So if you want to do an undefeated streak for this year, you can.
Yep.
So I mean that works.
You could do it that way, or you could just do it with. You could just do the whole what they did with Roman, where he's undefeated since he won even if he wins the
Because
TNT
he won
title,
the
right?
championship.
We know that
yeah.
he's lost it in the past. But since he comes in, beats Wardlow, and from then till whenever he loses it again, he doesn't get pinned or submitted, not
Yeah.
once, and doesn't lose. Period.
Because I mean, if you
Like
want
you
to
have a lot of
technically go
possibilities.
that route with Roman, the last time we only saw him get pinned was against Baron Corbin on an episode of SmackDown in 2019. He has not been pinned since. He's lost, but not
Yep.
by
Except for
pinfall or submission.
yeah.
I mean, he has lost.
Yeah.
He has. I mean, the tag team after Cena and Kevin, and then all that kind of
I was gonna say,
Xavier Woods and Seth Rollins and all that. Yeah, all that stuff. Yes,
I was gonna
but
say
not by
Woods
pinfall or
technically
submission.
rolled. I was gonna say Woods technically pinned, so
I forget about that thing sometimes. So I really do. And then when people actually say that, I'm like, that did not happen. That did not happen in my brain, but it did. And they never really did anything for that.
Woods is
But
campaigning for it. Like, yeah, because like Woods campaigned for he should get a title shot because he managed to pin Roman Reigns for the backwoods, which is a schoolboy.
I mean, he lost he lost the freaking King of the Ring to him, man. I mean, dude, that was just so bad. He didn't technically lose the King of the Ring title. He
Yeah.
just lost his goddamn crown because he's like, yeah, no, I'm the king now. I am the captain now.
Yeah.
Type of mentality there. So weird. So weird. Fucking Roman. Christian Cage. Another amazing aspect in AEW, and I don't want to hear anybody else complain about him. Since joining AEW, it was a rocky ride. It was a rocky ride for the beginning of Christian Cage in AEW. But since then, nothing but great stuff. Nothing but great stuff. He continues to elevate whatever he is trying to elevate every single time. He is a heat magnet. He knows how to just make you fucking hate his guts. And at the end of the day, he is just a great fucking heel. So when you see Christian Cage, you're watching and you're listening because he is great.
Because he knows exactly under not only his opponent's skin, but to get under the audience's skin.
Yes.
So always great.
He is a great heel. He is a great heat magnet.
Now, I think if you were to go,
and you're just watching him.
Yep. I think if you were to go right now, because I know everybody's wanting to say on it with all the heat that Dom gets on TV right now, we're like, oh my god, they won't even let Dom speak. I think Christian right here is showing you the kind of he's almost there, but Christian is showing you because not only is Christian a heel, not only is he getting heat on the microphone, but you also know as soon as you put him in a match, he's going to work the fuck out of that crowd and get himself booed so much that people, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, everything about Christian has been phenomenal since really it all started when they paired up him, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus, and then things escalated into, yeah, sure, he got injured, but then when the whole feud between Jungle Boy and Christian started, things started to really get things going, and then the final burial match, and then the heel turn of Luchasaurus and them still being paired up. But really, since then, nothing but good stuff between all three of them. And then we get this. Now, Christian Cage being the one to do the TNT Championship match. I understand why they're doing it. I understand why they're doing it because obviously you need a great fucking heel, especially in this new run for Wardlow. And what better way than to destroy? I don't know if it's going to be a destroy deal, but what better way than to actually do something then with Christian? So I understand it, and it's going to
Right.
work out in the
100%.
end. So we'll see. So
Also, we want to show over the fact that during that promo tonight, not only did we get constant "shut the fuck up" chants,
yep.
we also got an "Edge is better" chant.
Yes.
On AEW
I did hear that. Yep. Yep.
So
yeah.
that was nice.
So
which
basically
I refuse to accept the fact that because Edge and Christian have like taken all the selfies at the hockey games and shit.
Yep.
I refuse to accept that Christian is not sitting there talking to Edge, being like, "Hey man, how much time you got left? Like, I need to
dude,
hop on over."
There's definitely a strong possibility that it could possibly happen. I like. Do I want it to happen? Not really. But is it a strong possibility that it could? Oh hell yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a strong possibility. I just don't think that he would want to end his career outside of WWE. That's just a me thing, though, I guess.
Thing with that, I think a few years ago, pre AEW, I don't think anyone would have wanted that had wrestled in WWE would have even thought of ending their career outside of WWE. But I think the success of AEW has kind of opened the of people being able to go, you know what? It wouldn't. I think it's the idea of I might be open to just kind of running in and kind of testing the water to go hang out over there for a little bit. You know, do a couple matches and then be done. Just do a quick feud and get out of there. Because Christian's playing it up, telling him like, dude, this place is awesome. It's great. The scheduling is nice, super easy. I mean, I could see it happening. Like a few years ago, definitely not. But now I've definitely opened up. I've been much more open to the idea of guys like Edge, Ray, any of those guys, just kind of like leaving WWE, finishing up with them, moving on, and then just kind of I want to offer me before I finally hang it up for good. That way I can say I've done everything. So
yeah, and like I said, it's definitely a strong possibility that it definitely can happen. And would I be opposed to it? Not really, because there's a lot of history there, so you can do a lot of stuff with it. It's just I know there's just some people that are very strong about the whole thing. It's like, oh yeah, no, he should not end his career there. He should end his career where it all started. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but when it comes to Edge and Christian, who wouldn't want that? who wouldn't want that again? So so we'll see, But yeah, this was really good here. He says that he's the number one contender because of what he has accomplished. Because of this, he can walk into the boss's office and tells him he wants a shot. He says that Arn Anderson is a liar because he said the last thing that he wanted to do was set his son Brock up for success. But then he saw Wardlow and the TNT Championship, and he threw Brock onto the side of the road and hopped to Wardlow and take credit for his success. And I'm like, dude, this is just so good. This is so good. He's getting a TNT title shot, and I love it. And I love the whole thing that they did with Brock Anderson too, man. They just threw Brock Anderson right in there, and they're like, "Yep, just dig it in there." They also mentioned Ric Flair in this. They they mentioned Tully Blanchard in this as well. So obviously Tully, Arn, Flair, and all that kind of stuff. You see where things were going with that. Edge, not Edge, Christian saying that he was better and all that kind of stuff. Like, dude, all of it was good. All of it was good. So nothing really to complain there. They saw a pre-taping for Darby Allin and how he was basically saying, listen, I do all this crazy stuff outside the ring because it honestly keeps me zen for the shit that I do inside the ring. So I have to do this stuff because it works. And then we just see him. He's jumping like the Razor, mobiles all over the place. He's jumping like ATVs, dirt bikes, skateboarding with the goddamn trucks on the skateboard loosened. Like, dude, he's just Darby is Darby in real life. There's no character about it.
Yeah,
He's
100%.
just Darby. He's just Darby.
Yeah.
And honestly, to me, that's what I love about it. He's not playing shit. This is him. What you see is what you get when it comes to Darby Allin. Yeah, sure. You can hate him for shit outside the ring or whatever he's done outside the ring. Fine. Go on about that. But Darby is Darby. Because I know there are a lot of people that hate him, but, it is what it is. But Darby's Darby.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's one of those things of, I mean, the stuff that he was accused of doing, I don't think anything ever came of it. I think it was all just accusations, but that's neither here nor there. That's not a discussion for now.
Right.
But yeah, dude's fucking insane. I mean, he was a skateboarder first. He was a skateboarder before he was a wrestler. And that's one of those that he's one of those guys where, like, he's going to put his body on the line no matter what.
The no holds barred match between Anna Jay.
I have. Yeah, you're good. I was just saying, like, personally, I have the similar aspect. Like, when we were doing our interview with Rusty, we were talking about like pain tolerance and stuff, and I'm like, dude, I've been a haunt actor for years, doing haunted houses, and I will do whatever it takes to care, even if that means I end the night with like cuts, scrapes, bruises, whatever. If I break a bone, cool. But when we get done, as long as someone pissed themselves, I'm good to go. So, like,
Yeah.
But yeah.
The no holds barred match between Anna Jay and Julia Hart, not bad. Not bad at all. These ladies killed it for the time that they had and what they did in that match. I mean, they were fine. They did what they needed to do to get both of them over in that match and get the crowd to a good match. And Hart gave Jay a superplex. I felt like it was supposed to be on the chairs, but it didn't totally get to the chairs enough. If they went to the corner that was legitimately like right in front of them, they would have hit the chairs, but they went to the like far left one, looking from the hard cam side. So Jay's legs hit the chairs and everything like that, but I thought it was going to be on the pile of chairs, but regardless, I mean, that happens. Then she did the they called it something. They called it like Heartless or something like that, or Heartache, for whatever finisher move that they did.
I'm not sure.
It was either Heartless or Heartache, and then that was the finish of the match. And Julia Hart won the match. I was actually very happy that Julia won this. First things first, Julia Hart's presentation since
Yeah,
joining
I
House
mean,
of Black.
she's gotten so much better.
Yeah. Like, first of all, the presentation of her is fucking perfect. Since joining House, and her like an actual professional wrestler. I've seen her from her cheerleading days, bro, and yeah, sure, there was a lot to work with that, but through the process and actually getting things closer to where they need to be with her, she has turned this thing up a notch and actually made it work for her, and she now lives the gimmick, and it's great. I mean, she's gotten so much better than her days as a cheerleader. And I met her when she was a cheerleader. Yeah. And she is the sweetest person outside the ring ever. But now, if I ever met her, I wouldn't even want to go near her. Especially if they're with the House of Black, dude. Great stuff, man. She's killing it. Killing it.
I mean, it's like Chuck and Trent were saying, like, she's a spooky bitch now.
she's a spooky bitch. We'll get to that, because yeah. But yeah, I mean, she's been killing it, man. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She's just fantastic, and honestly, good for Malachi, Brody, and Buddy to actually want to do something with her, because they were the ones that pitched it all and said, "Hey, let's actually give this girl a chance," and say, like, "Hey, we think you can do something with us." Good on them for actually seeing that eye, you know? So, that was great.
Yep. Honestly, I feel like Julia Hart has very much gone, like attitude, like character-wise, it's not like a one-to-one comparison, but it very much feels like early NXT Alexa transition, like going from the pretty puffy princess cheerleader gimmick to that kind of just a bad bitch mentality with kind of a little spooky kind of element to it. So nice. And also Anna Jay too has improved so much since,
tremendously.
Like, JAS or not, her putting her with JAS has, like, getting her out, because she wasn't doing that much with Dark Order.
No.
Once Dark Order went babyface, getting her out was the best thing they could have done. I think, obviously, you know, losing Brody Lee kind of halted all momentum they had for Dark Order being the dastardly heel cult faction that they wanted it to be.
And it honestly stopped all momentum for Anna Jay, too.
I think there's every opportunity.
Jay was recruited by Brody.
I think we can get back there. But yeah. Well, and I think I would not be surprised if after what we saw here with Julia and Anna Jay, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a little, you know, Anna Jay start kind of thinking about things a little bit, and us just kind of seeing her contemplating whether or not she really wants to be with JAS anymore. And it was very much something that Julia Hart said before the match. It was in the promo, the vignette, about her kind of basically telling her, like, you keep jumping from group to group, like, at the end of the day, you're gonna be left alone again. You're gonna be by yourself. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see kind of her start to kind of second guess, being with JAS. And even if it becomes a thing, because we're kind of it's very slow because I think they're still trying to get everyone back. But I would, if we don't see, now that we're 2 years out from Brody's passing, I think now we're getting far enough away from it that you could have Dark Order turn heel again, and back to what they were originally intended to be. And I could see, Anna Jay turn like, yeah, I fuck, I left you guys because I wanted to win. Now I'm stuck with Jarrett, still not winning. So I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see something happen there.
Yeah.
Or even, I feel like it would probably overkill, but I would be upset if you took Dark Order, like you took the members of Dark Order that you have and you kind of merge them with House of Blood in a sense of you have this faction now that has the ability to go after everything. In the set, like it's very much you still have Dark Order, but like, because I mean, I could easily see Evil Uno specifically being like the adverse to Malachi Black. Like he's got Brody and he's got Matthews, but like having Uno just suited up with his mask on, just kind of standing in almost very Paul Heyman-esque, but
right
in the ear of Malachi this whole time. And then under him, like whenever Malachi doesn't want to, but it's not something significant enough for Brody or Buddy to get involved with either, he can just kind of Uno and be like send, and then you get him sending out, Reynolds and Silver or whatever.
Or if they need to go to whole Stu Grayson,
I could be looking into that too much.
Back in here too. So like, if you want to do Stu Grayson and Evil Uno again, because dude, they are fantastic.
Yeah,
Uno and Stu together, they are absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
and when they were brought in, I immediately thought
I also had somebody. Yeah.
Like those two could be like future tag team champions within the company, and legitimately you can build a goddamn division around them. It's just that they got lost in the shuffle and lost their way because of everything that happened. So like, there's a lot of stuff. So I just hope something happens too.
It was brought to my attention recently because it was something that I didn't wanted it, or I didn't know that I wanted it until it was brought up. But the idea of, obviously you have Eddie Kingston going after Claudio's title still because of all of the history there, but I wouldn't be against having Stu Grayson kind of like, he's still with Dark Order, but he's been dispatched to ROH because, like he says, he wants to fight. So I wouldn't mind getting a Claudio Stu Grayson ROH title match here soon.
I would not mind that at all either. Stu Grayson's great. So Stu and Claudio, I mean, dude.
Or even Stu Grayson Shibata. Yeah.
You can. Oh my God, yeah. Like You can give that to me too. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities when it comes to that, and I hope something happens with the Dark Order soon because they are really good. It's just that they lost a lot of steam when things happened, and it sucked. But they are really good, and they definitely do deserve at least some sort of time. Which that's why I'm hoping that if this whole hard, not well, basically hard reset of the rosters happen, that's a great opportunity for them to at least get on TV too, without them legitimately just being tossed to the wayside. So
Yeah.
Here's the thing about this though.
Well, and they've kind of a little bit of.
Here's the thing about this. When it comes to this hard brand split reset type thing, for the love of God, and I hope this legitimately does not happen. And if I'm speaking this into existence, y'all can blame me. But please do not create separate championships for these things. For the love of God, don't.
No.
We don't need that.
I think
we don't.
I think Collision. I would have with Collision. I would have keep the TNT thing, have the TNT and TBS titles be showcased specifically, like much more on Collision. And then you can have your world title and the international title on Dynamite. You know what I mean? Like, kind of focus it on that,
Yeah.
and then like if you need, like, if it's not a 100, like a super strict, like hard brand split, you could, if need be, like if you need to book something really big to sell an episode of Collision to like counter program a basketball game or whatever, you could easily have your world champion go on to Collision for a night. But I think you keep the world title, your women's title, and the international title, and then either one of the tag team titles, either the trios belts or the tag belts. Keep those on Dynamite, and then you have whichever one of those you don't put on Dynamite, you put the other on Collision. And then, like I said, your TNT, TBS, keep those on Collision as well. Because honestly, even if we don't get that like merger of the TNT and international title, I think having the TNT title being on a separate show exclusively, like pretty much exclusively to another show, would help it so much. Just by it not being on Dynamite as much, because then you don't have to shows, because then you don't have that feel needing to be defended in a title match because it's a television title.
Because we already have 7 championships in this company, and we do not need more.
Right. Oh yeah. No, I definitely don't think we're getting any new belts with them. So I mean, well, and the other thing is, a lot of the belts, a lot of it has been because they're not putting themselves where other companies don't exist. They're with other companies' belts, like IGP United States title. Like, they're willing to say, yes, this company exists. One of our guys, the champions, are going to acknowledge that. We're going to showcase that. So a lot of these titles, they're not actually an AEW title. So I think we're finally getting to the point now that ROH has their streaming platform. other than like these still showcase matches like tonight with the double Jeopardy match, I think, you know, now we're really that separation of the ROH titles are for once we get Collision, I think we're definitely going to see some sort of that main set of AEW titles, with it being your main men's title, your women's title, and I would probably say the belts. Just so you have FTR on your main show. But then your other belts being on Collision, it just, you're gonna have, I think that's what's going to set the brands apart once it's announced, as opposed to it like a brand type of thing. I think it's just gonna be like, these titles are gonna be here, these titles are gonna be here, and we're going to try, I think by not using words like brand split and like, just don't say that it's exclusive. Like, don't tell me that the world title is exclusive to Dynamite. Just do it. Don't bring it up. Because if you say that it's exclusive and then 6 months your world champion is on the other show, it's like, well, why did you say that? You lied.
Right, yeah. And then you're looking at a whole WWE thing where it's like, you said things are exclusive, so why aren't they exclusive? So.
Yep.
And that's just going to be a whole other mess. But and here's the thing, man. Like, yeah, sure, we're getting a new show, but they haven't even announced that we're doing this whole hard brand reset type of thing yet. Until they legitimately say something, we have no idea what's going to happen.
Exactly.
So it's just going to be something that we're all going to have to be getting used to when it does happen. But let's get through this trios match now, and then we had the steel cage match, because the steel cage match is probably going to be something that we're going to be talking about. So the trios match was fine. Obviously they retained the championships, and House of Black did, but what I really thought about everything was the match itself was, your typical trios match, but the way that they actually presented everything when it comes to the open house, where the lights were dim, it was just a single spotlight on the ring, and it was just chaos there. I loved the presentation of it all. It was just really cool to see. But other than that, it was kind of typical trios match with House of Black and the best Amigos, as they call themselves. But it was nothing really too special, but the presentation was awesome.
I think the thing I had an issue with this match was just the fact that it was Best Friends and Bandido against. They were the ones that got this. If it had been any other set like from that, like from that match last week, I'd been fine with it. It just, I don't know why. I guess because I just haven't locked into the idea of Best Friends teaming with Bandido. I think that also was kind of slapped together at the last minute, because obviously Danhausen is still hurt. He's still recovering.
That's right.
He's had his surgery and everything, but he's still a long out from a full recovery again. So obviously they had to do something. I just I like that we've now set that this house rules match exists, so they can do it more. They can do more of them. I don't think they need to overdo it. I would
No, you got to keep something like that special.
Tell me down the road, yeah,
you got to keep something like that special for sure.
If we get, I think if we get, down the road, if we get a United Empire House Rules match, I might lose my mind.
Fair.
Like, it would just be insane. There are several trios, like established trios, that would work really well with them in that match type. I think, honestly, what really turned me off with it, with Best Friends and Bandido, was that backstage segment right before the match with Renee asking them, like, hey, you guys get to pick the stipulation, what is it? And they're like, what? And they were just like, no witches at ringside. And I'm like,
they legitimately either had no idea that was like a part of it all, or like, no, I legitimately
it's part of their character.
I legitimately think they had no idea what it was. It just looked like they had no idea.
Because that was it. The rules were announced. The rules were announced weeks in advance. We've known about it. It's just Chuck Taylor and Trent are very much just like with Orange Cassidy. Like, it's why they don't actually pay attention to anything. So they knew, they saw like when the rules were announced. They saw the week before, all that stuff. Like, they knew what was coming. They just weren't like, you know what I mean?
So that was more of a comedy factor type of thing.
That's yes, which is why it was played for a laugh, and I was just like,
because I'm gonna be completely honest, I legitimately just thought they just had no fucking idea. They made it seem like that, so I was like, dude, what the
right? Well, and that's
why.
That's their character, though. That's the characters they play. They never have any idea. They never know what's going on. I mean, if you look at all of their BTE sketches when they used to do the mailbags, like, they were never prepared for anything.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. Yeah. But yeah, man. I mean, I thought the match was fine. I don't know. The match.
It was fine for what it was. It worked.
Yeah. The match was fine, but you got to keep that match special, and you honestly got to do it with the right guys. I'm not saying that the Best Friends and Bandido weren't, a great first start with it, but you got to do it with the right guys, because this is something you work into a goddamn story,
Right.
That's the type of match where you work with like an actual story behind it, and you get it going. And then with the rules going on with everything, you cash in with those rules and you're good to go. So it worked out though in the end, and it was a pretty decent match. King gave Barretta the Dante's Inferno, and that was the end of the match. This might just be a me thing, but knowing when I started watching pro wrestling back in like 09, 10, that range, and I saw Barretta from what he was then in WWE, where he basically just he legitimately did nothing from the stuff that I've seen with him in WWE from my time watching, and then he left or got fired, whatever one was legitimately the thing. But then seeing him here in AEW, dude, completely different. And honestly, I couldn't be more proud of him. I mean, he's been doing great stuff since, his departure from WWE. But it's still wild to me that I saw this guy all the way back then when I started watching, and he's here now doing what he's doing with Chuck E. T and all that stuff. It blows my mind still that I'm seeing this guy.
Well, And as a singles guy, yeah, in WWE he really didn't do much, but he was also he was one of the, was it the dude, I think is what they were called, for a while.
I saw him in
it was that
where he
like,
just left after that, but I didn't see any of the tag thing.
Okay. Yeah. They were, I'll see if I can find it. But yeah, they were it was him, and I can't remember, so I'm gonna have to look it up because I think his tag partner, because his tag partner did something else. Let's see. Yeah, Kalen Croft. And also for a little bit, they were also a trio at one point with Kurt Hawkins. This was,
that actually makes a lot of sense.
2009, like 2009, they debuted for ECW, and they were doing like ECW and SmackDown stuff for like a year. But they were like, they weren't bad. They were just kind of, they worked as a very good, like, you need a tag team to have, like, to showcase your like your upper level tag teams. You just need a really good team to put them with to showcase them. That was the guys you put up with.
Those were those guys. Yeah.
Because I don't think they ever got any sort of like tag team titles or anything, or any opportunities like that.
From Casino. But But yeah, I really didn't see any of the tag team stuff. I saw him during the single stuff, and I was like, man, he could do something. I saw some sort of flashes, and then before I knew it, he was gone. and then
Yeah, I
I
was just
see
saying,
him
well,
here
in
in AEW.
yeah, they did a lot of like, they only did a couple of things. They only did a little bit with him as a single star, and then they had him disappear. And that was the thing, was when he disappeared, they were actually doing, it was when like WWE's YouTube channel started to pick up. And so they were doing like the Where's Trent stuff.
I remember
started
that.
doing the Trent question mark gimmick. And like
that's
it
where
was
that came from.
Of him just walking through the woods. So,
that freaking blows my mind, because AEW during the first part of it, it was Justin Roberts was just saying Trent, like, with the question mark, and you saw the question mark on AEW TV, and I'm like, dude, they're using the Trent thing from when he was like, the Where's Trent, and I'm like, dude, that's perfect. And then they're doing
because
Trent Barretta now, but
he was using that in Japan too. Yeah, he was doing that in Japan too, and then they switched it around.
It's amazing how career trajectories just go up and down and up and down, and you're just here now. So it's crazy. But then we got the steel cage match. Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson. No, not Bryan Danielson. He was with Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson was with Kenny. Shit. On commentary. Versus Jon Moxley. Don Callis was with him. During this entire thing, everybody just started to brawl with each other in the beginning. Claudio, Wheeler, everybody was just, brawling with the Young Bucks and everything. We see Jackson just dive off the stage onto the others. Brian was just doing his thing on commentary for a little bit. This match is just absolutely chaotic. If I went through every single part of it, we'd be here for like another half hour. Just know that this was fantastic. This was brutal. This was chaotic. And honestly, this is exactly what it needed to be for their fourth installment of this match, and just a rekindling of a rivalry that happened in 2019. started in 2019 and now to where we are. It's just a beautiful car crash.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so
I am also one, like, purely convinced that broken glass in that bag was from that table. You can't convince me otherwise.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, they
like the idea that
things
Moxley had just like kept that broken glass all these years.
They save these things for a reason. So Moxley finally he got into the cage to fight Omega. Omega gave a V-trigger that sent him through the side of the steel cage. Okay, the entire freaking wall fell. And now, during the beginning portions of the match, yeah, during the beginning portions of the match, Justin Roberts says specifically that you win this thing by pinfall or submission. So, escaping the cage was not a thing here, and that's usually a WWE rule there, where it's like pinfall, submission, or by escaping the cage. So when people saw the cage basically break, we were like,
yeah,
all right, what happens now? And then we saw them just fighting for a little bit, and then we got back inside the ring, and we're like, oh, that's right, pinfall or submission. So Moxley sent Omega back into the ring and grabbed the screwdriver. Callis then got into the ring from behind, and he grabbed a screwdriver from Moxley, trying to prevent him from being stabbed in the head. Then Moxley gave... no, that's not what happened. Moxley did not give Danielson a V-trigger. That's fucking weird. Why is that a thing written down? Why? And this is a credible source that I'm getting these notes from. Like, Omega hit a V-trigger on Moxley, got him set up for the One-Winged Angel, hit the One-Winged Angel, 1, 2, stab, right in the fucking head from Callis. That broke up the pinfall. The referee is like, what the fuck are you doing? Why? And everything kind of happened. Moxley then pinned Omega for the win, and Moxley won the steel cage match. And I was in shock. I was in awe. I was then happy.
So good.
Finally figuring out what the fuck just happened, and I was like, let's go. And I immediately thought of YouTube Weaver, because I'm like, dude, we fucking called it. I'm like, yes.
Yep.
And then I'm like, dude, and I was like, listen, I'm gonna have to have Weaver on this show when we do this, because he and I called it. I'm making it happen. So I was either going to do 2 guests or 1, but I'm glad I did the 1, and also, I'm glad it was you, because it was just great.
Dude. And then also, we also need to go back to one thing with the cage spot. Their cage was not set up like your typical steel cage, like a WWE steel cage, because when that broke apart, you know, normally in a WWE cage, it's one giant square panel that's framed in, and so that chain link goes with it. This was just like he literally pushed him through the chain link, and the chain link just fell. So there was nothing to catch him.
No,
and then of course Kenny's leg getting stuck in between the rest of the wall and the ring. God, that was brutal.
I love the look of the AEW steel cage, don't get me wrong, but dude, when stuff like that happens, there are so much things that can go wrong in terms of like injury and anything like that, dude. Like that's scary when things like that happen. Hell, even when Cody did the moonsault off the cage in AEW, that could have ended badly. Because I mean, well, first of all, Cody and moonsault
Right.
don't really go together, but regardless, it's still pretty bad. um, but yeah, man, I mean that
Yeah.
was scary, and I'm just hoping Dan Omega's good on that. But then again, he's a consummate professional, so
Yeah.
he knows what he's getting into.
Even if like unless his leg is legitimately broken and he can't walk on it, he'll be like, oh, I'll let it rest for a week or two and then I'll be back.
He'd do a V trigger the next day on that knee if it was up to Kenny. So,
I mean, I think a few years ago, yes, but I think since him having to like take time away and like do all that,
actually,
all the rehab and all the surgeries, he's a little cautious of what he does.
Yeah.
So he'd probably play it a little bit safer now. But I definitely think he'd take like a week or two off and then be back to just ripping V triggers left and right.
Oh yeah. But dude, this steel cage match was fucking fantastic. The whole turn and everything was perfect in every way. Great way to end Dynamite. Just great Dynamite overall. It was just so good. So good.
Yep.
That's just what it was.
And like I said, I mean, Don Callis calls himself the Invisible Hand, right? Well,
Yep.
What is BCC's logo anyway, if not a fist? You know, it just like it's up perfectly. It makes much sense.
And honestly, I'm glad
but also,
that BCC.
Like, I 100%.
Go ahead. Say what you need to say.
I could see going
there's a little bit of a delay.
I could definitely see. I could see him going in like next week and like Callis, like wanting to call out Callis and be like, I want to know why you did what you did. Or just him say he's going to tell us why. And it's literally just I want the best bout machine. Trying to ditch these guys, to ditch the Bucks, to drop this whole trios thing, this whole elite thing. You're better than them. You don't need them. I want New Japan Kenny. I want the Kenny that spiked Will Bray in the table to the point where everyone thought he was dead. I want that Kenny back. I want the belt collector. And you weren't listening. You kept letting the Bucks get in your head and tell you needed to do this. You guys needed to do all this together. If you had just listened, I wouldn't have had to do this to you. But this is the only way I could get your attention. And so, like, perfect. It sets up everything perfectly. You get your one Don Callis like causing like a lot of shit with Kenny, or just having Don Callis just align himself with BCC in general. But then, at some point, you have opened the door to have Kenny be a heel, like turn heel again, but not do the goofy elite heel that they were doing last time. He can be serious, cleaner New Japan heel, and just be a badass. And it's gonna be
100%. I agree, man. Yeah, that would be great. The one thing I'm actually really happy about all of this too now is the BCC has their spokesperson again. You know, I mean, it's not that the BCC really need a spokesman, because obviously Brian, Claudio, Wheeler, and Moxie are great, right, on their own way when it comes to like speaking on the mic and everything like that. But having Don Callis is like that mouthpiece and like
Yeah.
that guy to like where you know he knows a lot about those guys, so he's going to be able to really tell the audience and tell the first time viewers or the fans that have been here for the long run who the fuck they really are. And they are going to be presented in a very good way with Don if this is all really said and done to have him be really a part of
and Don
this.
doesn't even have to be the one. Yeah, well, and he doesn't even have to be the one to say it. He doesn't have to be the guy to come out and run his mouth for them. Danielson already is doing that. Don Callis is the guy who paid them what he need. He paid them off. Their relationship right now is it. All it needs to be is purely transactional.
It's basically a silent partner.
Elite feud was Don Callis puppeteering to wait any, because it's this whole thing. I swear it's gonna be this whole thing of your injuries, all the. There's a million different ways to go, but it's gonna be something to that extent, and it was perfect at this point. I'm willing to say that it was damn near perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I 100% agree, especially with the way that we were saying this for like over the last few weeks, and then they actually executed it in the way that they did. Dude, this is exactly the way I would have wanted it. Exactly. Like, dude, there's nothing else that I probably would have wanted it to be. Having it be inside the steel cage,
well, and this is one of those examples of when
worked.
Yeah, this is one of those times when it being predicted thing. Like, we knew what was going to happen.
Well, it's not always a bad thing. Like, that's what I want people to understand. Predictability is not bad.
Not.
Especially when it fits.
Right. Yeah. People are still trying to use this constant trend now at last or so where the word predictable has to be used in a negative. The same with jobbers. There's this negative connotation now, more so than there's ever been, that someone being a jobber and someone having to do the job for another wrestler makes that guy look bad. Which is why, like, I was going to bat here recently, especially with this tournament, because a lot of people were very confused as to why the Miz, of all people, they're like, why is the Miz in this world championship tournament? I'm like, because he's a 2-time fucking Grand Slam champion. He's the only 2-time, or I don't know if he's the only anymore, but he was definitely the first ever 2-time Grand Slam champion in WWE. If anybody,
he's a great fucking worker,
has a right to say, right. But if anyone has the resume to be like, or at least on the roster right now, has that resume to say, yeah, this is what I've done to earn my spot, it's the Miz. You know?
Yes. Yes.
And even with Ziggler, like, people are like, because I went back and forth with Axel a little bit, because like he was saying like, or somebody had pointed out saying that like Ziggler should have been in the tournament over Theory. And it was a thing of like, I don't necessarily think that Ziggler should be in there over Theory. Like, if you had found a way to somehow put both of them into the tournament, cool. But say that Dolph Ziggler just in general doesn't in a heavy tournament when he himself is a former 2-time world heavyweight champion. I mean, he definitely has earned a spot in the contention for that title.
Yeah.
No matter what. It's just this mentality that people have right now of, well, he hadn't done anything lately, and I'm like, but he has. It just he's the guy who makes everyone else look good. That's
right.
what he's done.
So I mean, it's definitely something to look towards there. And the steel cage match was fantastic, and we'll see where things go from there when it comes to Don and all that stuff in the BCC, and basically how Don Callis hired the BCC as like a silent partner type of deal, which is going to be great, and it's going to be fantastic in the way that they're actually going to unfold things as we head to whatever they got planned for the future when it comes to this. So this is going to be great. And that was your Dynamite, man.
I'm definitely
now go ahead.
After this episode, yeah, I'm definitely much more up to. There's a guy that was trying to sell me tickets for. He has a ticket for Dynamite the week of Double or Nothing, and then an extra ticket for Double or Nothing. And he was selling them on the Utah Pro Wrestling Facebook page that I'm a part of. And he was like, I had originally talked to him and I was skeptical of it because he's like, he gave me the money. I don't have a physical ticket to give you. All I have is the like QR code that it's in an app. So
yeah,
he's like, it's a thing of you have to meet me at the gate and I would scan us both in. And I'm like, I don't know if I trust that. But now it's almost, considering he's selling them for $250 and it's like really close, like he told I've seen where the seats are. So tempted. Like depending on what my paycheck looks like, I'll get paid on the 20th, the weekend of the 20th. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm almost tempted if my paycheck is decent enough, I might be like, hey, here's the $250. I'll see you in Vegas next weekend.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd be tempted. I would be. That would be for sure, especially with the way things are going right now for AEW and Double or Nothing, man. Dude, I'd be tempted.
I mean, the only thing that's keeping me from doing it is just the fact that I don't want to pay the money to rent a car, go to Vegas, and get a hotel room in Vegas, extra money, show up, and send him a message and be like, hey man, I'm here at the gate, where are you? And then I'm stuck left at the gate with no way to get in because I've already paid him for the ticket that he's just ripped me off, so
yeah. That's why I always like being the holder of the ticket. And if anything, because of everybody, like the friends that I go to shows with here in CT, or basically any of the surrounding areas like Philly or Mass or New York or anything, the way that we have it all set up and everything is because of the whole wallet app on the phone here. I can send people their ticket from the Ticketmaster or SeatGeek app to their wallet, and then they have their own ticket. That way we don't have to fuss over anything, and then they just
right.
pay me the ticket upright with the cash or the Venmo or whatever we decide to do for. And then it's just like that. I mean, that's legitimately what I'm doing when I go to the Yankee game this weekend. That's legitimately what I'm doing. He has the tickets, sending me mine through my phone, and then I'm paying my way back to him. That way, it looks like I basically paid him for my ticket, and he did his. So it's like it's just the way that we've always set it up for, and then I just gotta make sure I feed myself, and that's basically how I get things done. I'm legitimately gonna have to try to figure out though what I'm gonna do for Grand Slam, because when that happens, I'm going there again. I legitimately made it like my entire thing of like I've been to the first two Grand Slams. I'm not missing the third. So I'm hoping that it stays at Arthur Ashe because that's like a 2.5 hour drive
Right.
and that's perfect for me. So I'm just hoping it stays there, and then
Yeah.
I get to see history being made again. Because I was a part of 20,000 people and then 14,000 last year, so it was great. But hopefully,
Yeah.
we see Arthur Ashe. TK, if you're watching, keep it at Arthur Ashe because A, that's a beautiful fucking stadium, and B, it's an easy drive for me being in CT. And the thing is, I don't even have to really rent out any places. I don't have to sleep in my car. I don't have to find an Airbnb. I don't have to find a hotel.
Yeah.
I can drive. I can drive. It's great.
Yep.
It's absolutely great.
Well, and
Now,
that's
Philly,
kind of been
on the
that's
other
gonna be
hand,
my
Philly,
that's
on the
gonna be
other hand,
my
was a
my
freaking
issue
different.
because I am gonna try. Yeah, I drove up for Mania 40, so that because I know like TJ and all those guys are wanting to do the big nut there. It's definitely gonna be a thing where I'm like getting the tickets and getting to Philly is gonna be the biggest challenge for me.
Yeah.
But it'd be easier if I was still on the East Coast. But it is
I
what it is.
mean, the Raw that I went to with Laf in Philly for the Raw 30 event, you know, that that was basically like a 3-hour drive for me.
Mhm.
And then it was legitimately the worst case fucking scenario because I
Yeah,
tried to get something during the show. Like I tried to get a hotel during the show or after the show, but nothing was being booked that late, which sucked. But so I
yeah,
legitimately had to drive home. But and I didn't make it home until like 4,
yeah.
4:30 in the morning. But but for Mania, I'm not doing that again, especially because it's 2 nights and I'm planning to go both. So I'm not driving there, back, there, back. It's going to be a week thing. It's legitimately going to have to be a week thing
Yeah.
because that
Well, and
it's
I'm
Mania.
thinking I'm thinking I may get and some of the other guys that we know for sure are going, and we may just into instead of trying to find a hotel. I'm thinking we just kind of pool our money together and find like a full house, and
Yeah.
we just have a main event player's house for the weekend. We
I
fuck
mean,
it.
I would
Um,
not mind that either,
that
really.
way, I
I
mean,
mean,
that
I'd
gives
be
us because
we know each other.
I mean, we're gonna get loud as fuck anyway, so it'd be easy. It'd be so much better for us to just have like a full Airbnb house, whatever, instead of trying to like put us all up in a hotel room and us getting in trouble, noise complaints and shit.
And here's the thing, we actually fucking know each other, so it's not gonna
But
be fucking awkward or weird or anything like that. Because yeah, we're just fucking idiots, but we know each other, so it's good. Either way,
yeah,
that's
well, and
that's
also
gonna
with Airbnb, you get a better deal. Yeah,
yeah,
you get a better deal with more people, so
yeah.
work out.
And and honestly, at the end of the day, I mean that's gonna get settled as we get closer to that event. And I know we gotta really honestly kind of think about it now so that we actually know what the fuck we're doing at that time. But I'm legitimately saving every penny I got in order for myself to actually make sure I get there. Because one way or another, I am fucking going to that event. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I am going. Like, I don't care what I have to do. I'll have to sell my own fucking
Right.
kidney, and that's fine. I I just gotta go. I'll sell my well, I'm not gonna go there. I was gonna go somewhere completely out of pocket, and I stopped myself. But nah, we'll figure that out when we get there. But thank you guys so much
Guys,
for
just keep
joining us
loading up
right
on
here.
those SeatGeek codes.
Yes, SeatGeek, we love you. We appreciate you. Please, we can work. We can work together, okay? But thank you guys so much for joining us right here on OTB. Not a lot of people showed up tonight, mainly because the fact that YouTube fucking sucks. And I've been getting messages left and right saying, Phil, were you going live tonight? And I said, yes, we're live right now. What happened? Noties never went out. So great. Thanks, YouTube. Appreciate you. But thank you guys who actually did join us. For the people that are gonna have to watch this afterwards, hit the like, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell for all notifications. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at @PhillyMatt_. For Weaver, it is Team Weaver basically on everything. Support the main event players in any way that you possibly can for their side of things. It's a great time over there. I heard you guys are doing some sort of interview like legitimately this weekend, so I mean that's great. It's anonymous though, so we have no idea what's happening.
I think we're just interviewing TJ. I think that's what he's wanting to do.
Dude, keeping things anonymous, yeah, it's you. Okay, nice. Regardless. Whatever happens. So good stuff for them. We'll see you guys on Friday for the Friday Night SmackDown post show. Hopefully, YouTube and wants to work and send out the notifications because that's part 2 of the World Heavyweight Championship tournament, where we'll see fucking Edge, Rey Mysterio, and AJ fucking Styles in a triple threat on just free TV, and then Bobby, Theory, and who's the other guy? Who's the other one? I'm a fake WWE fan too.
Sheamus.
And
I literally just like a few hours ago. Yeah.
Sheamus.
That's what it was.
And that's going to be something. Listen, Austin Theory and Bobby Lashley are just destined to be in matches together forever. It seems like they're legitimately like the Austin, they're legitimately like the Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano thing. They just never want to step away from each other, and even if they do, they always find their way back with each other. It's sad, but it's true. So we'll figure out who wins those. I already told you guys my predictions. I think it's going to be AJ and Bobby in the semis, or technically SmackDown finals, and then whatever happens, AJ. I think it's going to be AJ's set final for the championship in Saudi, but who knows? We'll see.
I think, honestly, I think Sheamus is going to come out of that other triple threat, because I think Bobby and Theory they're going to clash too much, given their history together, and I think they're going to cancel each other out and cost each other the match. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sheamus.
I wouldn't mind Sheamus going to the SmackDown
at least
final.
That triple threat.
I wouldn't mind Sheamus going to the SmackDown final.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love Sheamus. And Johnny would be fucking thrilled. But
True.
But man, it's gonna be cool. We'll see what happens when it comes to SmackDown. And other than that, guys, we'll see you guys on Friday for the Friday Night SmackDown post show. Hope you guys enjoyed what you heard. Hit the like, smash the subscribe button, and we'll talk to you on Friday for Friday Night SmackDown. Have a good rest of the night. Stay safe. God bless. And peace.